Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is lecture number 9 of mobile application development course, and we were discussing newsreader app. As you people know that it's a large app. There are many concepts that work together. So I have broken them into different parts. Today we are going to discuss like how to convert our input stream into a JSON object, because whenever we get data from the remote server, then we have to manipulate it and transfer it into JSON object and get the desired data from the JSON array. So yes, we discussed. We'll be discussing again. Once again, we'll be discussing APIs, what are JSONs, URL, input stream reader, get input stream, and JSON object. But mainly I will be focusing on how to convert into input stream into JSON object. But before that, let me jump into our code into Android Studio. I want to recap whatever we have learned. So this is a newsreader app. We want to display news article or any article. I mean, it could be any article. It could be article reader app, whatever you like. We want to display them on the list view. For that, a list view needs a source, a data source. In our case, initially the data source is an array list of type string. The name is title. So this will be act as a source for our list view. And then we define adapter, array adapter. You know that array adapter will give a required amount of items to the list item, to the list view. This will make our app more efficient and less memory will be consumed. And then we move on to our onCreate main method. We inflate the main activity. Initially in our main activity there is only one list view. Then we get the address of that list view object and put it in this reference variable called list view. Remember, this is a reference variable that is pointing to an object and that is saved inside memory in some location. So we give the reference of that list view in a reference variable which is called list view. And then we move on, and then I'll discuss this part in a moment. But we then initialized our array adapter, pass in this current activity which is main activity, and then our layout will be simple underscore list underscore item underscore one, and titles are array list which is the source. And then we set array adapter to the list view by calling set adapter method. And then in order to get the information about articles or about news article, we have to connect to a server or through a website through API. Remember that this is what we were discussing in the previous lecture. So this is API for the newsreader website. We copied, we use this API, news, top and best. We use this API in our app in order to get the IDs of different news articles. So these are the various article IDs of the news article. Each ID identifies news article uniquely. And then once we have once we have this API, we can use this API in order to get further information in the form of JSON format. So this is JSON format in the form of JSON format about a news article. For example, what is the title of the news article and what is the URL, what is the type, the time, the score, the ID and the descendant and by. So all these information can be retrieved by using this API. So we will be using this API later on in our app. But for now, I just want to tell you that we are interested in news, top and best stories, and for that we use this API. So moving on to our app. So this is normally, in order to get these types of information, we run our task in the background. For that we declare a background class called download task, and it extends ascend task. Remember that ascend task is a super class that is used to get information from the remote server asynchronously. Okay, then whenever you extend this async task, you have to implement a method called do in background, which accepts a URL of type string. So inside this do in background method, we have defined some variables. That variable will be holding information about the article IDs. So the first variable is result. Initially it is empty, then we have a URL, and then we define a URL connection. Initially it is set to null, but later on we initialize the URL and give it the index of 0, give it the URL of the 0 article. Then we open up our connection by calling url.open connection. This will open the connection, and then when a connection is open, then we can use input stream to get our input data. How? By calling get input stream method upon URL connection object. Once that is completed, we have to then read input stream, and for that we declared object of input stream reader called input stream reader with a small I, and then we initialize it and pass it the input stream. So this important object will read the data from the input stream byte by byte, but we want to convert that byte data into a character data, because ultimately we want to display it in the form of character or character set or in the form of string. So then in the next statement we wrote this statement: input stream reader dot read. It will read 1 byte at a time and then initialize it to the data variable, which is of type data. And then we used while loop. The while loop was to collect data from the input stream byte by byte and then convert it into character. So here you can see that we define a character called current. We assign it a data, convert that data, cast it into character, and then assign it to the current variable, and then we concatenate the current variable with the result string. And then once again we read another we read another input stream. Excuse me. We read another input stream and byte, and then this loop will go on as long as we have bytes in our input stream, and we are converting those bytes into character and then assigning those character into a string variable which is called result. And then we are also logging our result in by log I URL content result and then returning that result. So what will happen, like if there is some problem inside this try block, it will throw an error, and this catch block will tell us about the nature of the error. But then what we did, we declared object of download task class called task, and then we call execute task.execute method and pass it this URL. So what will happen after we execute this statement? It will our control will go to do in background, and the URL will be assigned to this URLs, and then we can use this URLs further in our program. So let me tell you that where we have, yes, we have used it over here, URLs index of 0. So it will assign this URL to our URL variable, and then the further so this is the URL, the request of the API, which will give us the IDs for different articles. All right, now let us move on. And now that we have retrieved all those bytes, so the next thing is to how to convert it into a JSON object. So for that, let me like let me go here. Let me go here and let me write declare JSON array. JSON array. I'll move step by step, and then let me declare JSON array object, new JSON array, and give it the result variable. So we have an error, and that is because the JSON SON should be capital. Alright, so we declared JSON array, and now that uh, we have converted our result into JSON array. This in our case is an JSON array. The next thing would be to like decide how many articles do we want to print or do we want to display on our list view, because there are many there could be a lot of articles or news articles. For that, initially for experimental purpose, we are going to limit the number of articles to be displayed on our app, and uh, that would be 20. So we are interested in just um, assigning 20 article, just displaying 20 article on our list view. So for that, let me declare a variable called number of items, sign in 20. Okay, so and then I have to check if JSON array dot length. For example, if articles are less than 20, so what then? So in that case, our upper limit would be number of items. Number of items would be the length of JSON array. So dot length. So for example, if uh, the length of JSON array is 15 or less than 20, in that case we want to set upper limit boundary to JSON array dot length and assign it to number of items. Okay, so uh, that would be only the case when the number of article are less than 20. So let us move on. But if it is not less than 20, then the number of item will have the value of 20, and the upper limit here would be 20. But if it is less than 20, then that would be the upper limit. And moving on, I'm going to use the for loop, and I'm going to initialize I with 0. I is our old traditional code, number of items, I plus plus. Okay, so once I have defined the for loop, the next thing will be to like declare article ID, and I'm saying here go get the JSON array, go get the string of JSON array which is at location number 0 or at index 0. So we are going to assign the article IDs one by one to the string ID, and then further we have to get some information, and that information would be like we are only interested in getting the information about now let me go once again, go to this side. We are only interested in, let me see, yes, we are only interested in the title and the URL. So these two information, we are only interested in these two information to be displayed on our mobile app. For that we have to assign a URL to new URL and give it give it address, URL address, and that URL address would be let us see, that URL address is this one. So I'm going to copy this, or you can like click on it. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Okay, so let me just for a second, let me turn on the internet. Because you know, without internet it would be very difficult for me to tell you about how to get the data from the internet. Okay, so once again let me click here, let me refresh my Wi-Fi connection, and there you go. And okay, so we have now internet connection, and so let me click on it. Okay, so here let me copy this URL, and we are only interested in the URL and the title of our app. So let me copy it and paste it over here. Okay, so the next thing this URL is giving us information of only the article having ID of 8863, but we are interested in any type of article. We are interested in all type of article that we get from the internet. For that, let me delete it. Let me put colon over here, concatenation operator, and article ID, and then further concatenate it with the rest of my string. So here now we are this sentence will tell us that we are interested in any type of article that we fetch from the internet. So alright, so I'm going to have a lecture of 20 minutes because then it is very difficult for us to you know it is very difficult for us then to upload our lecture on the YouTube or Google Drive. Alright, so now that we have this URL connection, the next thing would be to have async connection, get that data, and then retrieve that data. So for that, I think already we have written a code for it, and that code is above somewhere. So yes, so that code is if you go above, and I think we do not have to write it again. We just have to copy some lines of code, and these lines of codes are this one. So let me copy it and come over here, and then we can paste it here because alright, so let me paste it here. Okay, so I have already defined input stream, so I do not have to define input stream once again. So what I can do, I can delete this input stream, and also delete the input stream reader because we already have defined it. The next thing would be to also delete this integer. Alright, So um, the, after that uh, we are going to uh, okay. So after that data read input stream, I'll be defining a new variable, and that will be called string article info, because we are only interested in the article title and its URL. Initially we set it to empty string, and after that uh, I'm going to replace my article info over here to by this result variable, and also paste it over here. And for understanding, I'm also going to write here, this is article info, and after that I think I should write it here because of the scope of the article info. Yes, and leave the other URL, which was URL content as it is, and set it as result. Okay. So with that, I think we should stop here, and we should execute our code, because it is always good to test uh, whether our application is working or not. Okay, so let me now run it. In the first step, we fetch the article IDs, we displayed them, and then in the next step, we are interested in information about each article ID, that is article title and and article title and its URL. So initially we are going to have information about the JSON information about each article. So Gradle is still building. At that moment, let us go to the log tab. So I'm going to select the connected one. And so I'm going to stop it and run it again. All right. And Gradle has finished its job. Okay, now you see that all of these information, it will take some time because we are connected with the internet. Now you see all these JSON information that we retrieve from the internet. So I mean, we are in this case we are only interested in title and URL, which we will be like selecting in the next lecture. But you can see that we have information about 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. So 20 article information and their article IDs, we have selected them from the internet. So I think this is what we wanted, and congratulations that we have successfully retrieved the JSON information. In the next lecture, we will be selecting only the title and the URL because they are of our interest, and then we will be displaying them on the mobile screen. So I do not want to exit Android Studio. I hope that your people are with me. Go ahead and run this code. If you have some problem, you can contact me. But these types of programming needs a lot of practice, a lot of understanding. For now, I'm going to stop here. So till then, Allah Hafiz.